Hi, everybody. My name's Jen Chaney. I'm a TV critic for Vulture and New York Magazine, and I'm so excited to be here with you all to have a discussion about the other two. What did you think of the episode you just watched? Awesome. I agree, and I'm very happy to bring out three of the Dubecks, starting with Heléne Yorke. Drew Tarver. Hello. And last but certainly not least, Molly Shannon. Guys, I think they like the show.
Yes,
they seem to be
thank
excited. You. Before we start talking about the show, I feel like I would be remiss if we didn't say something about the writers of the show, Chris Kelly and Sarah Schneider, who created it, and also their entire writing staff. This is such a well-written show, and as we know, they're on strike right now, and we're thinking of them, and we really appreciate what they do.
Yes.
So I guess my first question, and this is for all of you, but Heléne, you can start if you'd like. As we saw in this episode, yes, prepare yourself.
Okay, me first, great.
This episode, the whole plot line with your character being invisible, this season takes a lot of bigger swings and does some stuff that's a little bit surreal. I'm wondering, did you guys know that was going to be the case, or were you finding this out as you were getting each script, and how did you feel about that?
No, Chris and Sarah, who you just mentioned, are wonderful writers and creators. They send us the scripts like in one fell swoop and sort of sit by their phones and wait for us to text them like everything we love about them. And so we're always like, it's like, okay, I'm reading and I'm texting and I'm reading and I'm texting. But what was so exciting about it was that it is so bizarre to play a ghost at a party, and yet is that so bizarre? I think that's what really makes it work and what makes this show work, but they take these big swings and yet they are grounded in something that feels real that people can relate to, and I think that that's what I feel is really working this year. And it's also a huge vote of confidence that they think we can make it work.
Yeah, yes. That was really good.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm inside of the show right now. I'm just like,
I forgot to tell you, this is an actual episode.
yeah, we're filming this, right? Yeah. Okay, I don't know my lines. Yeah, we like, when we're reading the scripts, it's very fun because we just get all of them and we're like, are you available tomorrow? Let's sit down and read them. Let's do it all tomorrow.
Yeah, because they literally text us until we read them. Have you read them? Have you read them yet? No texts yet. Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, I need to get some coffee, and then I'm gonna go read them. And it was very fun to read all of them and like see the big swings they were taking. But like Heléne said, it was also like nerve-wracking to be like, oh, can I pull this off? Like, so it was nice of them to trust us to play out these bigger storylines. And they felt bigger when I was reading them, but they also felt in line with what we've set up the first couple of seasons. So it felt like, I think this is like a big joke, a big set piece, but I feel like we've set it up so the audience will go with us. So it was, it felt in line with the humor that we had already set up.
Sure. Anything else, Molly?
No. I think we said it all.
We have. Well, that's good, because my next question is for you specifically.
Okay, good.
So we've already seen in the season so far that Pat is really having a hard time being isolated, really wants to be able to go and do things she wants to do, to the point of, ditching her security people and drugging them and possibly poisoning them. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about her arc and like how far she's willing to go to be able to be independent?
Yes, I think, so she feels a little bit trapped. She is like alien level fame. She has her own media empires, but she's right. She's doing crazy things, sneaking out, drugging them. So, it seems like she's willing to go to any lengths to be able to have a little bit of free time out in the city walking around. Yeah.
Now, I assume that, you've never been in quite that situation, but are there any feelings that you're drawing on as a famous person, like, where you do lose a little bit of your privacy?
Yes, like I was at the airport in the bathroom and I came out and someone was like, oh my God! Like I had just come out of the stall and I was like, hi. She was like, oh my God, can I take your... She wanted to take a picture in the bathroom and I was like, all right, like just weird. I was like, this is funny, people can't
Get in
believe...
here in the stall with me.
Yeah, exactly. And then once I was dating a guy, and we were at that restaurant down in the West Village eating breakfast in like a glass window, and somebody came up to the window and was like, superstar, right in the window. And my boyfriend just looked and then like kept eating and just like ignored, just stuff like that. But I mean, I'm trying to think of what else. Ooh, if I think of something funny, something else, I'll let you know. But
Okay.
There's lots of funny stories.
Okay.
I have ASMR, this thing called the ASMR, where I feel really relaxed with a certain type of soft voice, and I actually didn't really know I had it, but Yorma heard me talking about it a lot on talk shows, and he was like, I think you have this thing called ASMR, because I never knew that I like ladies in stores who would be like, let me ring up this water. But to make a long story short, a fan came up to me, and she was like, sometimes I get triggered by fans, like if their voices are soft, and she was like, she kept saying, she was like, I love you. She was kind of drunk, and she was like, seriously? You have no idea. But she was touching my jacket, and she was like, seriously? You have no idea. And like she was touched, and I was like, I feel so relaxed right now that I let her keep doing it like 10 times. I am not kidding. Seriously? Seriously? And it was like such a gentle touch. I was like, I'm in heaven. You have no idea. Like that.
You just like spent days with this woman.
I did. That's like the good part,
Yeah.
I'm afraid that everyone afterwards is going to start doing that to you.
Yeah. I weirdly have that sometimes, but only like if somebody's like making me a sandwich, like at Jersey Mike's, I'll get it just for a second. And I feel like, but I don't, do you get it a lot of places? Because I only pretty much get it with sandwich assembling. And I'm just kind of like, they're like, sir, do you want oil and vinegar? And I'm like, yes. It's so weird.
It's the best.
Have you because I want it more. I want to feel it more. So do you have things that you can, do you ever go seek it out, like for real?
No, I don't seek it out. Like I can't watch videos. That seems fake. It has to be a real person. Like I love if I'm going through airport security and they're like, we have to check you out. And I'm like, yes. I can't wait. And I like when they have the gloves and they have to go through your objects and like unzip your makeup bag, and I'm in heaven. So if you
just you at TSA, just like.
But so my kids now know, they're like, ooh, you get to get checked, Like so it's just fun.
Wait, I have a follow-up for Drew. What is it about the sandwich making process? Like,
I mean, it's similar. It's that same thing Molly was talking about, like the like really delicately like putting a tomato. Like they're doing something for you, and you're like, thank you for taking care of me. And it's something in the back of your head that just kind of starts to light up. And it's just about like, I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like just delicate assembly.
You have ASMR?
I do. I really, but I want it more.
all right, well, maybe you'll get a deal with Jersey Mike's out of this, and
yes.
unlimited sandwiches.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm the backbone of this cast, being normal and not eating this.
I know. These two weirdos.
Oh my God.
Wait, can I have one more crazy one?
No, but please.
So we
do this all night, Molly.
ASMR related?
We had ASMR.
Good,
I had
good,
a
good.
dishwasher repairman come. He was Russian. He was terrible, but he had a voice that triggered me, and he did not know what he was doing, but he was like, I just need to take apart the pieces, and I was like, I kept bringing him back, because I was like, it's cheaper than a massage, and then I'd make up other electrical things that he'd have to look at.
You made up other ones?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
I was like, can you look at my Miele dryer? And I was in a full trance, because he would take apart, so that's all. True.
I
is
love
amazing.
that.
This, I will say, this is not where I thought this was going to go. But to bring us a little bit back on track.
Yes.
A little bit. Drew, Carrie has a relationship with someone this season who is a method actor to the point
Yes.
that it's detrimental to their being able to have sex or really connect as a couple on
Yeah.
any realistic level. Why is Drew in this relationship? Explain it to us.
Why is he? I think going back to getting the scripts and reading them and being like, oh, there's some big swings. It was funny to read episode 2 and then 3 be like, oh wait, they're gonna be together? This is gonna be the whole season? Oh my God, this is so insane and really funny. And I love that they're going even deeper with this. I mean, I think I think that he really wants fame and really wants things to be how he pictured them. Nothing about all the milestones he's crossing or fixing him or how he wanted them to be. And he's like, okay, well, this can maybe help me have it be a little bit better or more how I saw it. And I think he thinks eventually he's going to drop the character and so they can fuck. I don't know. I think he's a little bit stuck, and it's indicative of some of the grosser places he goes this season for success.
That's a little sneak preview, guys. Heléne, I want to ask you a similar question about Brooke's relationship with Lance. And obviously she's extremely bothered that he's a nurse, and it's frustrating her so much. Can you talk a little bit about why? I mean, we know that she wants to be perceived as doing good without actually having to do it. But why does it bother her so much that Lance is getting, such recognition?
Look, I mean, I relate. Josh Segura is a very, very fucking good guy. It's annoying. And my own husband is a saint, and I'm always like, you little motherfucker. Because, it's just
Was that in your vows, or?
Yeah, you fucking piece. No, I think what it is that for me, and how I relate to it, and this is how I approach the character and, the season broadly, is just that, we all sort of feel like we're not doing a good job. We all sort of feel like we're kind of blowing it. And nothing makes us feel more like we're blowing it than the people closest to us in our lives that we see are, not blowing it. And it's just sort of a mirror that goes up, and you're just like, well, that I have to do all these things in order to please this person, and obviously that's what I have to do, and to spin yourself in a wheel about it. I mean, this is a man she barely deserves. But yeah, that's what Sarah talked about when she talked to me about this season, which was, just that idea that it's I couldn't possibly deserve this person because I'm such a bad person myself. Mm-hmm. That was really dark.
Well, that's the show for you. I want to ask if you can talk about the experience of shooting the party sequence in the episode that everybody just watched. In your case, Molly, you were almost in a little horror movie with being attacked by people who wanted to have meetings with you. What was that like to shoot for you?
It was really fun. We shot that, I think, at a house in Oyster Bay. Was that where it was?
That is so funny when your hand goes up and you're like, no! That was really funny.
Well, it's really fun to shoot it these beautiful houses. We all are like, how much do you think this house costs? Like, you get to go to these different neighborhoods and do this location shooting. So it's just really fun. And those outdoor party scenes are fun to shoot in real life because you meet a lot of people and you're hanging out in this pretty house and we all talk and have fun. So it's really just fun. But I do have a tick phobia. So I I spray and I put tights on and I put peppermint because I do not want to get a tick bite. So that's another part there.
Like peppermint oil?
Yes, peppermint oil. Little private tidbit.
Does that work?
I don't know. That does work, yes. A ring of peppermint and a ring of lavender.
Do you check
and
your
it
hair?
repels ticks.
Do you check your hair when you get home after days
I
like
put
that?
lavender under my neck. We're going to go into all kinds of details tonight that you'd be surprised about. You can put lavender on your head and peppermint. And yes, I learned that from a farmer on the other two. Remember the woman who brought the pig?
Oh, the pig in the
she's
first
the one
season.
who taught me that.
The pig in the first season.
She taught me because she knows all about ticks.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right, yes. We learned so much over the course of this show.
Yes.
Helena, what about for you? Because you must have spent a lot of time just screaming in people's faces.
Yeah, we had some very nice guest stars and extras and artists that day and those couple of days. It's crazy because you go to, we did look up the price of the house. We were like, who lives here? That's like where Great Gatsby is set, is on Oyster Bay, which we were like, where's that green light? Like, literary reference.
Smart.
Sorry, I'm really smart. I'm at 90 Stories 3 Wise, Prestige. Pulling out my F. Scott Fitzgerald. Yeah, but it's also like we shot this entire season as if it was summer, but like it wasn't summer, so we were cold.
Yeah, a lot of it is like opposite of what the character's feeling temperature-wise. Like if I'm ever in a t-shirt, it's 2 degrees.
Yeah, I didn't know that acting was like pretend you're not freezing or hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to I feel like I want to teach like an acting class that is like how to go from taking a nap to doing a scene in less than 30 seconds.
It's a unique thing that you
Just like, and action.
He's literally said with naps, he's like, I just experience it as a second morning. Like, okay. Just get a
That was
coffee
a
a second
private
morning, I do a
moment.
second morning.
That was a private moment. I did call taking a nap at lunch second morning. And I kind of get up and do my morning routine again. I brush
He's
my
mean
teeth.
for the first 3 hours.
I'm furious. I brush my teeth, some coffee.
Are you joking or not joking?
He's
I'm
not
joking. I'm joking. Based on the response, I'm joking.
Second Morning sounds like a cult or like some sort of religious organization.
Okay, I am writing a small Bible about Second Morning. It will be out soon. Check it out. It's called Second Bible.
I want to ask you, Drew, about Carrie's relationship with Curtis. We see a lot more of Curtis this season, which is really fun. And as we saw in this episode, it seems like Drew's relationship with Curtis, or not Carrie, not Drew.
Right.
Sorry, is really like dependent on how he's doing career-wise. And if Curtis is doing better, then it's not the best. Talk a little bit about that. And then I asked you this question during an interview last week, but do you feel like Carrie is a good actor? Because I know that was something that you weren't sure about initially.
Right. Yeah, we had kind of talked about, we were on a panel during the second season, and we were like, talking about Night Nurse and is Carrie going to do it or whatever, and then we were like, I was just kind of asking Chris and Sarah, do you think Carrie is a good actor? And I'm happy that in the third season, because you could have just made him bad, he's terrible, and then his journey is kind of trying to figure out how to be good at it or be better or taking acting classes or whatever. But it was interesting to have him, he's good at it and the movie is good and it was fine and he did okay, but it didn't help him or fix him. And I thought that was such a fun thing to get to play out is hey, things are going right for you. What's your deal? Why are you not happy? You're crossing some of these milestones that you wanted, and it's not fixing you. And I think it's fun this season to I mean, it's not fun to yell at Brandon Scott Jones mean things, who plays Curtis, but like it's fun to play out sort of like peers who are going out for the same things and like how that's affecting him when he doesn't get it, and is he can he be happy for his friend? And yeah, it doesn't get better the rest of the season. He's
Actually, I want to ask a question. This is to you, Drew, but I welcome other responses. Do you have a full understanding of what happens in Night Nurse?
Well, I wrote a spec script. I don't. Maybe I should. Like,
I don't
maybe
know that you need to. I'm just curious.
I mean, we see that one scene that gets interrupted by a COVID positive, and I think there's a full monologue from that, and he's basically just being like, "I'm a night nurse." He's just kind of saying what he is, and that I'm a nurse, and my duties are at night. So I think, like, I don't fully know. I think that would be a question for Chris and Sarah. Maybe they have a fully mapped out idea.
I don't know. That kind of really explains it all, what you just said.
Yeah.
Hang on, I got to check my cheat notes. So obviously, this is a really funny season. It's a very funny show, but there are some pretty dramatic scenes in some of the upcoming episodes and some poignant moments. Is it hard for any of you to like make that shift? Does it require like a tonal recalibration, or what is that like when you're playing some more serious scenes in the context of this show?
It's really, it's what's really nice is that it's a comedy, but we work with such amazing actors that when you do go there, they go with you, and so like I think like Molly in all seasons has had some like really intense moments, and through watching those performances, like you can't help but go with her, and be in that moment with her. And I think that to have a 360 story to be told in that way, it's like, if anything, such a blessing and so rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think like I was very nervous before doing the first season because I had basically just only like screamed with a mustache on at UCB, like in midnight shows. And I was like, can I be subtle? Like, I don't know about this. Like, I'm a little nervous. Like, obviously I got cast in this and I'm doing something that is working. But I remember we filmed the plane episode. Was yes, plane? Okay, right. A pilot. Woo!
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And like to have like the comedy great of your life, like doing this scene, it's just like
I had never been across from a scene partner that I felt like, oh my God, I'm gonna be able to go there with Molly in this moment because her performance is so good and deep and true. And it kind of just felt like, oh my God, I'm on this train. Like, I didn't know I could do this, or like I was unaware of it until I was kind of like across from you. So I kind of felt like that from that moment, I was like, oh, I think I can do this.
You guys are so good at it, and it's great that they write that because it's so fun. Like it makes the comedy so much richer when you have a real emotional baseline, right? I think it makes it funnier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you truly believe that the characters really want something and care, so it makes it funnier.
Yeah, the writing is really like they guide you and take you up and down, and you just kind of like calibrate, and it kind of brings you there. The writing itself is like, oh, I'm there now because the writing is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that's so great about this show is that they get the satire so right, and not just about Hollywood and entertainment, but even about the way it's covered. Like, I think it was season 2. When Carrie's boyfriend is like, oh, I'm going to be recapping, I think it's The West Wing or something, or old episodes of The West Wing, and Carrie's like, why? And there's just no answer, and I was like, God, that's so accurate.
It's so fun when people quote things like that back to us, because these are things that I find so funny, like little nuggets in the script that feel small, and then people come up to me and will like say little nuggets like, I'm doing West Wing for the AV Club, why? And it's like, oh my God, I get so excited that people catch everything, because that's the thing about their writing, is that it's like really, I mean, it's like joke, and so many, like I have to make my husband rewind because he laughs too hard at Drew and like misses me, and I'm like, rewind.
My man.
Oh my God. So you rewind?
Yeah, I'm like, rewind. You missed it. My thing.
So I'm curious if the three of you can think of, are there certain jokes like that for you that like, God, that rings so true to an experience that I've had in the industry or something along those lines?
American Crime Story hot coffee just popped in my head, and that was maybe like season 1. I thought that was so funny.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
There was one scene where the fans of Pat in the second season, they come to say hi to her after the show. And one woman was like, Pat, I'm just like you. You know, I just moved to New York too. And I'm like, oh. And then she's like, and so can you tell me, how do I make it in show business? And, you know, so sometimes I'll get that where people ask me these really deep life questions. And there'll be like a line of people waiting to talk to you. And you're like, you know, so we get that.
You're like, I'm using the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
I was once stayed at a hotel, and all night long I hear this like boom, boom, this music, and I couldn't fall asleep. It was like an Alicia Keys record release party. And finally I was like, I could not fall asleep. Finally the sun was rising, and they kept telling me music would stop. And then I said, like, I really have to switch rooms. This is ridiculous. I was like, I'm exhausted. And then this guy came to help me with my suitcase as the sun was coming up, and he was like, so would you mind telling me how you broke into acting? Like, how would I go about doing that? And I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna teach him right now, while the sun is rising, how to break into acting. And I did.
You did that.
I did. I took my time because I was like, this is crazy.
Oh, that's so nice.
And that man is Chris Evans. Unbelievable.
That is such a Pat Dubeck thing to do, to be honest with you.
Yes, exactly.
The other funny thing about that scene that you were talking about is when she finally finishes talking to everyone and they're like, okay, you can go home. And then she drives 2 feet and they're like, well, time to go back in.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have to ask a question about one of your co-stars, Mr. Ken Marino, who plays Streeter Peters. I recently had the pleasure of writing a profile of Ken for Vulture, and I just have to think that he's ad-libbing or just doing wacky things all the time based on my experience with Ken. So I'm wondering if any of you have some Ken stories that you're willing to share of things he did that caught you off guard, made you laugh, anything of that nature.
You can't remember them because they're so numerous.
I lived with Ken. We were roommates during the 3rd season.
And second season.
And part of the 2nd season, because we're both in LA, and when we come here, we were like, hey, you want to split a place? Because we had like become friends. And so I guess I'll say one of our apartment bits, or one of his apartment bits.
Okay, do one of the bits.
I won't do it.
Do the bit.
Is your husband here? He'll laugh.
Damn it.
So no matter what time, he usually gets up before me. We've heard about second morning. I'm a little sleepy. And I will walk into the living room, and he'll usually be in there on the couch, and he will just he'll be clothed, but he'll pretend that he's not and kind of go, oh! So he did it once, and I was like, very funny, you know, pretty good bit. And he did it every morning we were together. 200 different, oh! And he would like heighten them and like be like under the couch and like, ah! And he ran out of ways to heighten it, so he would just go back to the original. And one day he was like hiding behind a fern in the corner of the room, and I had gotten home, I was done with work, and I kind of like just trudged in like very tired with my stupid little lunchbox that I bring, and I was like putting stuff, and was just kind of having like a after work kind of like, ooh, was that good? Did I do good today? Sort of like, oh, and I didn't see him, and he stood there for 60 seconds, just watching me kind of just be like, oh God. And eventually he was so uncomfortable because he was seeing a private moment. He thought I was going to be like, ooh, like start crying or something, that he just went, I'm in the corner. And I was like, oh! And he's like, sorry, I was doing the thing, but you didn't see me. So I stayed quiet, and then it got weird.
That's great. Oh my
Follow-up question. Is it fun living with Ken Marino?
It's oh yeah.
Or a little stressful?
No, it's so fun. It's so fun. And like, also like, not to be like whatever, but any time that like, you know, he's like one of my heroes, and anytime you're like having a moment where you're like, oh, you're feeling a little insecure about filming, or like, oh, was that good? I could talk to him, and we would have like real, like drop down conversations, like where he was very helpful and like very nice and so he's like funny, but also like can fully drop it. I mean, all of these conversations that he had with me being very serious, he was like this. But yeah, he's great. He's the best.
Do you guys have any other things to add, or should we go to the audience questions?
Sure, we can go to the audience.
Okay, all right. I will put on my glasses so I look like a serious journalist as I read these. Michelle from Brooklyn is wondering if there is a funniest or most memorable moment from filming this season for each of you.
Oh my God.
Already stumped.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting is I was saying this, I forget, maybe during an interview, but it's also hard because we had to shoot fast and we all have a lot of dialogue. So you'd be surprised, we're all really concentrating a lot. Didn't you feel that way? That it moves pretty quickly. So we're really like, when you're constantly memorizing and doing so many scenes, it's serious, you know.
Yeah.
I really
hard.
enjoyed. Yeah, that's definitely true. There's it's like really like having the days are big and long, but as a result, I think I watched Brandon Scott Jones do an impression of Austin Butler, or you did Austin Butler on SNL for like an hour.
I'm so sorry, Drew. You're going to have to do Austin Butler now.
It was so
sorry.
funny, and it was like an entire show of like, I'm Austin Butler, I'm here hosting SNL.
Well, it's Austin Butler as Elvis.
Hosting SNL.
Yes. This was an ADR episode, right? She was very, I remember that day.
Do you remember
where
when she came to ADR and she came to do, when we were on that set that we can't talk about yet? So funny.
Yeah, she was so
That was very funny. Something we can't tell you
You're
about.
gonna love
Very
it.
funny. Very funny.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, Molly? No. Okay. All right.
Wait, there's gotta be...
Okay. This is a real specific question. By naming the episode number, what episode are you most excited for the audience to see, and how would you describe it in one word?
Oh.
Yeah, which ones?
This feels like a quiz.
306. 306.
What's 306?
I'm about to say it.
Oh.
I'm about to say it. No. Wait, should I? I could just say the...
Well, it's up to you.
Spoil it.
Yeah, I better not say like... come back, hold on.
I think it's 307 or 308, and I got to do it with Ken Marino, and I really think it's fun and frenetic.
All right.
306 animation. Well, no, hold on. No, it's not like animated. I messed
You just
up.
really got their hopes
They were like,
up.
ooh. animated episode. Great.
It's better than animation, I would say.
Drew Tarver announces the rest of the other two season 3 will be animated.
Yeah. I just run off and like buy storyboards. I got to do this really fast.
Do you have a favorite?
I think I'm excited about 307. 307?
I think that's 307.
Okay, yeah, 307. Yeah.
I think mine then is 308.
Okay. Zach asks, what have been some of your favorite moments from filming on location in New York?
Oh, I'm very lucky. I live here. But that's lucky.
Yeah, it's really special to like film in the city and be like right next to, you know, everybody who lives here. But like also you can just like eat really good food while you're filming.
Oh my God, we were once in a van with Ken Marino and we were like, quick, we have time for dinner. We have time for dinner. Do we have time for dinner?
Yeah.
Where should we go to dinner? Where should we go to dinner? And we like ended up at Zaytinya, like the new Jose Andres and Novak.
Yeah, it's great. You can just be like, I guess for lunch we'll eat oysters.
I have my character wears the old age disguise makeup. I don't think that's a spoiler alert, right?
Well,
no.
Maybe, but that's okay.
And it's animated.
But it was so fun getting the special effects makeup on. It was just for a few days, and I walked out during our lunch break. I just walked around Brooklyn, and I went and got a sandwich, and I looked like an old woman, like a really old. And then I FaceTimed my niece, and she was in hysterics. She was like, "What?" And then I also saw Ken Marino in the morning, and I was like, "Good morning, Ken," but I forgot that I had the prosthetics on, and he kind of ignored me, and I was like, "That is being so weird." And then I waved again, and he just like ignored me, and then I was like, "Oh, maybe he's stressed out or something." And then I went into set, and he said that he thought, "Why, there's that weird woman again." And then he realized it was me, and we were in hysterics.
Didn't he not realize until you sat down in the scene with him?
Yeah,
like you sat down at the bar with him, and he was like, "God, this old lady's here. She's in the show."
Yes.
Molly?
Yes. That's what happened. It was so fun.
That's a testament to the makeup team. They did a very good job.
Yeah. And Chris made this joke, also an insult to Ken. Like just kind of like that he didn't notice.
This question is asking who is on your bucket list to get for a celebrity cameo in the show? Because you have some great guest stars on the show.
All the Kardashians?
Yeah, like some like mega pop superstar would be amazing. Like what
Taylor
if Taylor
Swift?
Swift?
Taylor Swift.
I was gonna say that came on the show. That would be amazing.
Swift, yes. Or Harry Styles.
Oh yeah.
Fun too.
Oh my
That would
God,
be
that is
fun.
the best idea I've ever heard in my life.
I ran into Olivia Wilde at Jack's wife Frida down in Soho. And by ran into
We
her.
were on our lunch break.
By ran into her, I mean my friend knew her friend and like was talking to her, and I was like, this bitch not inviting me to meet Olivia Wilde. And I like went up and I was talking to my friend's friend, and I turned around and I was like, oh, like pretending like I didn't know she was there. And then I was like, oh my God, I love you. You're so cool. You like direct, you do all this stuff. And she was like, oh, thank you. And she's like, I really love the show. And I was like, and my butt dropped out of my body. Wow. And then she said to me, she was like, yeah, my ex-boyfriend and I loved watching it. And I was like, Harry Styles.
Yes, it could happen.
No way.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I was like,
Who do you mean? It couldn't possibly be him.
Oh my God.
yeah. And she was like, I'm really tired from this like dancing I did all night. And I was like, where'd you go dancing? And she's like, Jay-Z's dance party. And I was like, this is great.
Wow.
That is amazing information. You guys are just, you're blowing my mind. Okay. I think this is going to have to be our last question. This one is from Shelby and Anna, and they ask, what were your worst or funniest audition stories?
They're always so sad. Molly, you have some really weird and funny ones. Mine are all really demoralizing. Like somebody once, I walked into an audition room and they were like, "Hi, Helen, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, it's actually Helena." And they were like, "That's what we said." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm just so used to correcting people in my name. It's a mess. Like, look at that. That's not Helena. Like, that's a nightmare." And so later on, my manager called me and he was like, "What happened?" They said, "You seem difficult." And that's, sexism.
Women wanting their names pronounced correctly. Difficult.
Applauding sexism.
I had one where I think I was auditioning for like Seinfeld or something, and when I was a struggling actress, and there was one girl actress also competing for the part, and she saw me and she was like, "Oh my God, did you gain like 100 pounds?" 100 pounds. I was like, no.
Why would anyone say that out loud to another person?
I was like, you are
Another
psycho.
actress said that to you?
Yeah. Did you gain 100? Oh my God, did you gain like 100?
Oh my God!
It really hurt my feelings. I was like, God, she's such a bitch. Yeah, and I will never forget that. And guess who made it? And guess who didn't, bitch? Go eat some chicken, honey. You know what I mean? Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I know, 100 pounds.
But you know what? If she'd had a really nice voice, you would have been like, "Say it again."
Did you gain?
But in all honesty, I did used to have that. I called it the dark days of chicken, where I would be like, go on an audition, and then, they would ask the girls to stay who they were interested in to go walk over and meet the producer. So if you weren't asked to stay, everybody knew. They would just be like, "Bye, Molly, thank you." And you'd have to be like, "Bye, bye, everyone, good luck." And then you leave, and everybody knows that you didn't get to stay. And I remember seeing my friend Catherine Lanasa out by her car after the audition doing ballet, like pliés. And I was like, "Oh, she's so easy breezy about auditions." And I would start to get dark and depressed. And I would think about going to get a half-baked chicken at Gelson's and closing my shades and calling it a day. So I call it the dark days of chicken. The end.
Dark days of chicken. I know Catherine Lanasa.
Yes. Oh, you do? She's
She
so
still
nice.
does ballet, like, in
yeah.
class and stuff.
I was like, "Chicken, are you my mommy?" Maybe. You didn't know it was gonna get like this.
I didn't. Drew, do you want to follow that?
It's hard to follow Dark Days of Chicken. Let me think. Oh, I broke my tooth in half right before a UCB team audition, and I put it back on with denture cream.
What?
And just kind of did the audition like this. And it was kind of like about to come off the whole time, and I would just kind of occasionally push my tooth back on. Because I didn't have time to go get it fixed. Dark days of no teeth, I guess.
And you were, it went well because you do UCB, right? Or did you not get it that time?
Yeah, they were like, hire that redneck with one tooth.
Well, maybe they thought you were making interesting choices.
Yeah, they were like, wow, he's really committing to this sketch character. He removed his tooth.
If you can go see Drew do improv, you absolutely must. It is incredible. He's so good. It's wild.
That's nice.
Oh my God.
Well, this has been an amazing panel. It more than I could have possibly wanted or expected. I do want to mention, you saw, this is episode 3, I think, that you guys just watched. There's another episode that drops on Friday that is so great, and I can't wait for you all to see it, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I'm writing a story on it that was probably due yesterday. But thank you so much to all of you for being here, and to all of you for being here. It's been great.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.